A Frog's Life by Irene Kelly, illustrated by Margarita Boren. What is a frog's life? Full of leaps and bounds. Frogs are amphibians. They can live both on land and in water. Frog species have adapted or changed over millions of years to be able to survive in their environments. We know there are more than 4,000 types of frogs, but scientists are finding new species all the time. On the left, there's a picture of the Amazon milk frog. On the right, at the top, we have the Madagascar tomato frog. The bottom one that's brown and white is another Amazon milk frog. And then the blue and red one is a strawberry poison dart frog. Toads are frogs too. How can you tell when a frog is a toad? It's easy. Toads spend most of their time on land. They have dry, bumpy skin, short legs, and no teeth. Almost all female toads lay long strands of eggs in water. Frogs usually live near water, have smooth skin, teeth in their upper jaw, and long, powerful legs, excellent for jumping. The females lay their eggs in clusters in water. At the top is a picture of a common toad, and on the bottom is a picture of a common Temporaria frog. When frogs are on land, they breathe the same way you do, with their lungs. But when they are underwater, they breathe through their skin. It says oxygen from water can enter a frog's body through its skin, and carbon dioxide can be released through the skin. Frogs never have to drink. Their skin is like a sponge, absorbing water as they sit in a pond or swim in a lake. Frogs keep their skin healthy by shedding it often. Some frogs do this once a week, others once a day. The frog stretches, turns, and hiccups to loosen its old skin and pulls it over its head like a sweater. There is new skin ready under the old one. The old skin is full of water and nutrients, so the frog eats it. And this is just a picture of the smoky jungle frog. On the left is a picture of the ruby-eyed tree frog. It says some frogs hunt for their food, but many don't. They simply wait for dinner to come to them. When a tasty insect flies or crawls by, the frog shoots out its sticky tongue and nabs it. In the middle, under those leaves, you have a picture of a wood frog. It says, but some frogs don't have tongues. Instead, they stuff food into their mouths with their fingers. No frog ever chews. They simply swallow their prey whole. Some frogs eat just one or two insects every few days, while others consume their entire body weight in bugs daily. And on the bottom right of the page, you have a sharp-headed reed frog. On the left, it says some favorite frog foods. You have a mouse, a snail, a fish, or insects. On the right, it says creatures that dine on frogs. Creatures that also eat frogs include water snakes, large fish, crocodiles, birds, raccoons, and diving birds. So we have a picture in the middle of a common water frog, and then around it you have a lizard, a turtle, and a snake. Frogs have lots of predators. but they also have strong defenses. Frogs have good senses of smell and hearing, helping them to know when a predator is lurking nearby. They don't have necks, so they can't turn their heads, but they can still see what's happening all around them. That's because their bulging eyes sit wide apart on the top of their heads. Most frogs are expert jumpers, able to escape hungry predators by hopping away. American bullfrogs are especially good at jumping. They can leap more than 6 feet, nearly 2 meters, in a single bound. Camouflage allows frogs to hide in plain sight. Frogs come in many different colors and patterns that change depending on their environment. At the top, if you look closely, you can see a Peruvian frog. And at the bottom, if you look really closely at all those spots, you can see a Vietnamese mossy frog. It says many animals won't eat dead animals. So the Darwin frog rolls over and plays dead when it feels threatened. The four-eyed frog has 2 spots near its back legs that look like large eyes. These spots fool predators into thinking the frog is larger than it really is. And that frog is called the four-eyed frog. Each species of frog is perfectly suited to living in its habitat, right down to their toes. Different types of frogs have different types of toes. Frogs that climb trees have sticky toes, like the red-eyed tree frog. Burrowing frogs have claw-like toes, like the European common frog. Gliding frogs use webbed toes like sails, like the Chinese gliding frog. Chinese gliding frogs are only 4 inches or 10 centimeters long, but they can soar up to 33 feet or 5 meters. As this frog leaps from branch to branch, it stretches the webbing between its toes, turning its feet into tiny sails. Frogs can be found on every continent in the world except Antarctica. They live in deserts, rainforests, and even on the Arctic tundra. Some species have had to adapt to survive in harsh climates. Australian water-holding frogs live in the desert. When temperatures start to sizzle, they burrow underground, wrapped in cocoons made from their shed skin. They fill their bladders with water and wait for rain, which can take up to 7 years to fall. The wood frog lives in one of the coldest places on Earth, the Arctic. When temperatures drop, this frog goes into a deep freeze. It falls asleep, stops breathing, and its heart stops beating. When spring arrives, the frog thaws out and hops away in search of a mate, as if nothing amazing had happened. Rainforests are home to more frogs than any other environment. This picture on the right shows just a ton of different types of frogs. The Amazon milk frog is that one that's brown and white. The American green tree frog is the green one at the top. And then you have the green-bellied waterfall frog, which is the green one with the blue spots. The frog with the red eyes and the red toes is the red-eyed tree frog. Then you have the red frog. With the dots at the bottom of the page is the Vietnamese mossy frog. That red one is the Madagascar tomato frog. The green one in the middle at the bottom is the giant monkey frog. The red and white one is the clown tree frog, and the blue one is the blue dart poison frog. The most poisonous. The bright colors of poisonous frogs warn other animals to stay away. The toxin carried on the skin of a poisoned dart frog can kill an adult human. The most poisonous animal in the world, the golden poison frog, is only as big as a paperclip, but the toxin it carries can kill 20,000 mice or 10 people. And that picture on the left shows the golden poison frog. It says poisonous frogs store poison in glands just under their skin. And at the bottom, you have the Philobates bicolor frog, the strawberry poison dart frog, and the yellow banded poison dart frog. The air owl is only as big as a housefly, making it the smallest frog in the world. Its size allows it to live on the ground among leaves, eating tiny insects that are too small for other frogs to bother with. The largest frog alive today is the Goliath toad, and it's a whopper at 2.5 feet or 75 centimeters long with its legs stretched out. Every spring, frogs set off on a journey to find a mate. They hop along until they reach the pond, lake, or puddle where they hatched, or they follow the calls of another frog. Males stake out their territory and launch into their mating songs. Each species of frog has its own special song. Northern leopard frogs creak like old doors opening. American toads trill musical notes. Couch's spadefoot toads bleat like sad sheep. Barking tree frogs bark, and dancing frogs live under loud waterfalls. Their songs can't be heard, so they dance instead. When a female frog hears a male singing, she sings back. The two frogs follow each other's voices until they meet. The male climbs on the female's back and hangs on tight to mate with her. She releases her eggs and he releases his sperm. The eggs and sperm mix together, fertilizing the eggs. Then the two frogs go their separate ways. About half of all frog species lay their eggs in clusters in water. There can be up to 35,000 eggs in a single cluster. A jelly coating protects the eggs from bumps and thumps. Baby frogs, called tadpoles, hatch after 6 to 21 days. Bubble nest frogs whip up foamy nests. The female secretes a sticky fluid that the parents whisk with their hind legs, creating a frothy ball. The female lays her eggs in the nest, and the male deposits his sperm that fertilizes the egg. These nests hang from tree branches over water. As the tadpoles hatch, they drop into the water below. The female Suriname toad carries her eggs in pouches on her back. Skin grows over them, keeping them safe until they hatch. The strawberry poison dart frog lays eggs on land. When the tadpoles hatch, they crawl onto their parents' back and hitch a ride to water-filled flowers called bromeliads. They will live in these flowers as they mature into frogs. Tadpoles are popular snacks for nearly every creature in their habitat. Tadpoles take time to develop into adults. It takes tadpoles a whole day to work their way out of their eggs. Day 1 is the fertilized egg, and then it goes from day 2 all the way up to 1 month. It says they emerge with gills that allow them to breathe in water and tails that help them swim. The new tadpoles are very hungry. They zip away in search of algae and other plants to snack on. 1 month later, the tadpoles have teeth, lungs, and legs. Now they can eat insects and worms. After 2 months, the tadpoles' tails are shorter and their legs are longer. At 3 months old, the tadpoles' tails have disappeared. They breathe air with their new lungs and hop around on their strong legs. They are beginning their lives as frogs. But they are not done growing. By the time they are adults, they will be 10 times larger than when they first came out of the water.